I don't really know what I want to talk about, but I felt called to turn this on because right now I'm staying somewhere that doesn't really benefit my well-being. It doesn't really support my number one, which is my relationship with the universe and my relationship with myself. That's my number one. And staying here, I realized that I'm not here right now. I need to not smoke weed. I need to stop smoking weed. This is an intervention for future Ashlyn. Stop smoking weed. This is an intervention. You are keeping yourself stuck in a rut. You are sitting in the room you're staying in, stopped by fear, blocked by fear, because you're scared of the energy that's around you. It's not great energy, but you're scared of the energy that's around you instead of believing yourself to be bigger than it. Even though I believe in myself, but it's every time that I smoke weed, I create this illusion in my head that there's something to fear, even though I know there's not. And I have so much proof that it's I'm just making this so much harder on myself, and I don't need to be doing that. I want to say goodbye to the parts of myself that self-sabotage as a response to pain. And I didn't realize I wasn't really outgrown from that. I didn't realize that energy is still stuck. It's around. It's around. And I'm fuck. Karma. What goes around comes around. What you deal with is yours to deal with. And I know that that's truth. And there's this part of me, you know what? No, let me take responsibility instead of keep on saying there's this part of me, there's this ego part of me. It's pride. Listen, me, the ego, take responsibility for the ways in which I am not breaking the cycle. But I also have a lot of space, and with that space, I'm going to take the opportunity to acknowledge the ways in which I have. I don't know if that makes sense because I don't really remember what I said because I am high, but yeah. I said what I said. I meant what I said. Yeah, I know what I say. I speak my truth and then I forget what I said. I feel I just have so much that I should just be talking and writing all the time. But I don't feel the freedom to do that here. There's some funky energies coming back of that one time in my life where I was so lost and just creating a horrible situation in my head for myself while doing drugs. I was really addicted to nicotine. I was and it was just not good. It was so bad for my nervous system. I was also smoking weed. I was also drinking. I was also doing cocaine, which is such a big no-no for my poor heart. So there was a lot of ways in which I was making it so much harder on myself than it needed to be. There's this fat cloud, vape nation, there's just this cloud where I have the power to create clarity. And that's what I'm being called to do. But instead of doing that, creating clarity, there's been areas where I'm because I'm smoking weed and because Maddie left a vape with me and I'm fucking hitting it and died, thank God. I hope I don't try to hit it again. But I'm being called to have self-control that I don't think I've cultivated yet. But the universe is we wouldn't be presenting this opportunity in front of you if you weren't capable. So I just have to really fucking believe in myself. Of just I can have self-discipline. There's a fuck ton of weed around me. I got my bong. I got my papers. I got so much weed. I got so much weed and so much alcohol. The alcohol doesn't tempt me. Alcohol just makes me feel like ass. I haven't drinking any of it. I haven't even felt tempted to. I thought about it once, but then I was it was barely there. It was barely a thought. And Whatever. I just gotta believe in myself. I just gotta not let insecurity and fear rule my life. I can't let it rule my life. I just can't do that. I just can't do that anymore. I can't let it ruin my life. And in order to do that, I think time with myself is so important. Like, I have to talk to myself for like at least an hour a day. I usually do it like all day, every day. But now that I'm like with other people, I can't be blaming it on the energy. It's me, it's mine, it's my energy, because I was around here a lot during that time where I was creating, back to what I was talking. I was creating this awful situation in my head that made it so much harder on myself to just like cope with what was going on. Separation with someone. And I felt like everything was pointless, and it was really, really hard. And I made it so hard on myself because I didn't have self-discipline. I was just like becoming the people that I was around, and I was just hanging out with people who were doing drugs. And it's not their fault. It's my responsibility. Always my responsibility. And I don't know, maybe a part of me is afraid that I'm gonna have to cut them off, but I don't want to, because I'm like, well, they deserve love whether they're doing drugs or not. And the universe is like, yeah, but like that's not necessarily good company if you haven't cultivated that kind of self-discipline. Like, I can cultivate the self-discipline to where I'm like, I don't know if I can. Like, once I turn 21 and I have money, that might be a problem. Because I don't want to have to be tempted to buy weed. So the universe is calling me to grow, to take a big fat leap out of my comfort zone, and I can do it one of two ways. I can smoke weed and have a fuck ton of fear and be like, just push through it. Why do you have so much fear? And then bully myself in the process, because it's always what happens. It's a cycle. And overcoming fear and liberating yourself never comes from a place of worry. It comes from a place of freedom. So I gotta free myself. The chemicals that do this to my brain, it's pouring hard out. And I'm gonna have to walk in it. And that should be fun. I don't even know what's going on. I want to be in the woods. I want to be with nature. I don't want weed. I gotta let it go. It doesn't complete me. Weed does not complete me. I need to have the self-control. Self-Control by Frank Ocean kept playing in my head. Crazy shit happens between me and the universe. And I don't feel like I want to let anyone in. That's how I feel. So let's get a truthful self-concept here. I'm this girl, whatever girl I'm looking at here. My name is Ashlyn. That's what people call me, which is a nice name. I like that name. And I've dealt with attachment issues. Well, let me rephrase that. I've dealt with my pain, whatever emptiness I've felt within me. I've filled that space with so much attachment, insecure attachment. I've worked through a lot. I've done so good to where it doesn't rule my life, but it's hanging around to the point where if I'm put in this situation, if I'm dunked underwater, I'm a little bit like, oh, what the fuck? And I start creating it that way again. I start creating it the way that I did the first time when I felt that pain. But maybe that takes time, right? Maybe feeling in pain, maybe I shouldn't be holding myself to such a healthy standard. Like, I'm dealing with pain, but it makes my pain worse. You see how I'm just going around and around and around? I trust the universe. That's my number one girly. That's my number one girly, is my relationship with the universe. They are presenting this to me. The universe goes by they, them, apparently. Hey. The universe is presenting this to me because I am loved, because I am being called to grow the way that I begged them. I begged the universe, give me an opportunity to grow. The universe said, okay. And I said, that's a bit too much. You know what I mean? And the universe is like, nah, one step at a time, girl. Once I talked to myself, I realized, oh, it's not that big of a deal. There is this huge part of me that knows that pride and ego and fear is not the one in control here. And that part of me shines through so strongly that pride is working its ass off. I gotta give it credit. I gotta give pride credit, because it's fighting. It's giving a fight. It's just gotta surrender. And I practice that sometimes. Like, I was practicing that earlier today. Doing yoga is fantastic for that. And then I smoke weed, and then it's like, oh God, I'm just creating this negative cycle again. But I think I'm getting myself out right here, right now. This is me breaking the cycle, documented on film. This is me breaking the cycle. This is my true self taking over and saying, hey, pride and ego don't get to control me. Wait a minute. Wait a goddamn minute. I'm letting pride control my life. I'm letting pride control my life. Obviously, I'm not happy. I always say my life isn't reflecting greatness to me. Obviously. Don't blame it on the location. Well, there is some truth to it. And I am always valid in my feelings. I'm creating so much for myself. And we've just got to learn to not do it that way. And that's what this experience is for. And so I surrender to this experience. I surrender to this experience. I surrender to this experience. And everything's alright, and then we'll see. We'll see what happens. I've been filming for 12 minutes. That's crazy. It's felt like 4. I don't know what's happening. Weed takes away my clarity of mind. And that's gonna ass. It's gonna ass. I like my clarity of mind. But I also like being silly, goofy, and talking to myself. I feel empty. Like, I'm so scared to turn this off because I don't want to be alone. I don't want to go in and walk in. But I do. If Devin was here, I would. Because I have this illusion that without him here, I'm not a complete person. Which I guess is kind of common in like a twin soul connection, but like sometimes I don't know where to draw the line. You know, where the illusion is. And if I don't know how to do that, if I don't feel confident in like my truth, in drawing the line between illusion and truth, then I shouldn't be like talking to him or like asking him to like hang out with me, because I keep wanting to do that. Like, but last time that I couldn't leave him alone. Like, I just kept wanting to text him. And that caused issues. I don't want to create issues. Like, stop creating issues. It stops when it gets to Devin, because it's like, I love him so much that it's like, I can't do this to him. So even if I can't find enough self-love to be like, I can't do this to me, at least I can find enough love for Devin to be like, I can't do this to him. There's a whole lot of unknown. I'm a person who likes to acknowledge the unknown. With him, I feel fearless. With him, I feel yeah. With him, I feel fearless. That's not true. With him, I feel like my fear is okay. Like, I remember one time I drove to his house. I had 2 drinks. 2 White Claws. And I was like, I'm driving to Devin's. And I drove to his house. And it was a chaotic drive. It was awful. And the whole time I was driving, I was smoking a cigarette. And I wanted another one. We'll get there. And I was driving there, and I was so fearful, but I didn't give a fuck. Like, the fear was so strong, but it was not stopping me at all. I was just like, yeah, showing up at someone's door at 10 p.m., 11 p.m., that's a bit, like, out of line, like, to anybody. But I just, like, I was like, I'm doing it. My mind went there, and then everything else followed, kind of thing. It was just like, yeah. And I didn't create any resistance for myself out of the fear. Which is interesting. Anyways, yeah, smoking a cigarette, which made it so much worse. My poor nervous system. My poor nervy system. And then I was like, oh, let's give him for a cigarette. Because I want another one, because this is my last one. So I did. But that caused problems. I don't want to do that. That's not what I'm breaking the cycle. I'm breaking the negative cycle. I am whole and complete within. I keep placing this piece of myself with him. But it's like, goddamn, I'm whole within. I'm whole within. And that starts with letting go of the ego. That starts with overcoming fear. That starts with overcoming pride and letting pride know, hey, girly, you're not the one in control. Even if you think you are, you're silly for that. You're not the one in control. You're an illusion, and you don't get to control my life. That's what I say. That's what I say to pride. It just happened right there. I said, you're an illusion, and you don't get to control my life. But there's so much truth in the way I feel. So I say to my feeling, thank you for being here. Because I know that you're telling me to stop smoking weed. To put the joint down. Put the bong down. Spend some time with yourself. And I'm like, fuck it, I feel incomplete. So do I just allow this to happen? Or do I hold myself to, you need to create self-discipline, girl. Stop smoking the weed. But maybe I don't feel that strong enough right now. 17 minutes. 1737. Angel number. 1737. That's crazy. What are we doing? What are we doing? I know I'll make it through. I know I'll make it through. But goddamn, why can't I just not smoke the weed? Why can't I just not smoke the weed? What an awful coping mechanism. What an awful coping mechanism. I don't want this to be a part of me. I don't want this to be a part of me. I don't want to cope with the substance. I don't want to cope with the substance. I don't want to, please. Where's my confidence? There's my confidence. I can do this. Kind of looks like my penis. I can do this. I've done so much. There's one reason I feel like I can't do this, and it's because I'm high. Do you see the dichotomy? Hopefully when I watch this, I'll understand. I'm just like, girl. I know that I'll understand. I know that when I'm sober, I'm gonna understand. I know that when I'm sober, I'm gonna be watching this, and I'm gonna be like, damn, she's just keeping herself stuck. Why would you want that? But I'm documenting it for that reason. Sober me. Don't smoke. It's so bad. I know you want to, but fight that urge with everything. Present me. Fight that urge with everything. You don't need to be smoking weed. Oh my god. I'm just giving into it more by like worrying, right? What if I said, I have the strength to not smoke weed. 777 on a license plate just drove by. That's fucking magical. Having a mental breakdown. Okay, this is from my future self. This is from my girly. I don't want to hang up. I love you. I love you, girl. Okay. I don't know what's happening. I'm brain dead.